Alright, we seem to be live now.
Cool. Who was doing the intro?
Uh, neither of us, because we improv this to hell and back.
Okay, well then. Welcome to our podcast. And I am HylinEchoWolf.
I'm OkamiOfGames.
And this is the OkamiWolf show.
Yep,
Again, improv.
Where we get to talk about shitty peripherals.
Yeah. Starting as far back as... Oh my. This is a broad spectrum topic, really. So...
Where do we want to start? I've got a bunch of peripherals sitting next to me that I can pull out.
Yeah. So basically, peripherals go back as early as gaming history started. The original games were made out of radar equipment, but Pong then came around, and then it was just basically some simple stuff. I'm just playing around with one of the more commonly known peripherals of Mario Paint for the Super Nintendo.
I have the mouse right here.
And I'm playing it via emulator. And it's just this title screen is so fun. Each letter does something different.
Yeah. I've got it running because I'm going to be having this running throughout the podcast. And I forgot my mouse is kind of finicky at times.
What does N do? Oh, that's a credit roll.
Nice.
I'm drawing on the title screen. I'm drawing the title screen.
Nice.
That's
all right. So.
So yeah, let's go as far back as we possibly can.
Well, since
the Magnavox Odyssey, known as the Brown Box, was the first console that used at least cartridges or something, and it was sort of a disc cartridge thing that it did that with. So the first time somebody saw that and was all like, "Oh, this is interesting," and they probably had no idea what to make of it. As probably I didn't either. The first time I saw even AVGN review the Magnavox.
What time that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. The earliest, as far as peripherals go, that I have with me is the Atari keypad peripheral, which I can grab really quick.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, this thing, which you can't see because you don't see the webcam because Skype is an amazing program. But I have the keypad layout for Star Raiders, for example. But the thing without the thing looks like this, which lighting is terrible. Yeah.
And unfortunately, due to that not working correctly, I can't even see it. So again, good job, amazing program.
Thank you, Skype.
Yeah,
amazing.
Thanks.
Amazing, good job.
Tim and Eric show, awesome, good job. I forgot how hard it was just to color in like a tiny little pixel.
At least you don't have a very shitty mouse. I almost wanted to take down Mario Paint and play Mario and Wario, since I have that, and that is another game that used the mouse.
Yeah, there wasn't very many for it, was there?
No. The two that come to mind for me are Mario Paint, which is pretty obvious, and Mario and Wario.
Yeah. Aside from that, there wasn't really a whole lot of games that used the mouse. I mean, there might have been a few games here and there, but ultimately there really wasn't a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. So, what peripheral do we want to talk about next?
Okay, so we mentioned the Magnavox Odyssey, and that had one of the first, you could call them light guns. But that actually looked like a rifle. Like, it actually looked like a weapon, which was...
Well, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like, AVGN was like, this is a freaking rifle.
Nice. You gotta love the weird shit video games make.
Oh, yeah. I think probably the most common light gun was definitely the NES Zapper. Before that, there was, I think,
my NES
Sega had
Zapper right
attempted
here.
to make one. I think Sega had attempted to make one, but it wasn't very successful because it kept, well, it was a pile of junk.
Just like Sega now. I've got my NES Zapper here. Though I am shit at light gun games. So...
Yeah. I always miss playing Duck Hunt.
Yeah, every time there's a light gun game at PAX for one of the classic console challenges, I never participate in it because I am terrible at light gun games. But I do all the weird shit that they have at PAX perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because sometimes light gun games are hit and miss. And then other times they're just kind of.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so funny story while we're talking about light gun games or gun games in general. When I went to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo last year, I went with a friend, and he ended up spending $50 on a Super Scope. And his dad was there, so his dad's like, oh, you can put that in the car if you want to. And he's like, nah, I'm going to carry it around. Guess what? He lost it later on.
Oh, wow.
We eventually did find it, so at least he got it back, but it's like, you should have not tried to be a show-off like you usually are.
Yeah. You know, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple spots I forgot to color in.
So, guess we can talk about other NES products. I have the NES Advantage right here.
Yep, the NES Advantage is most famously depicted in the movie Ghostbusters, where they actually hook it up to...
Ghostbusters!
Yeah, they actually hooked it up to, friggin... what the hell was that? You know,
Statue of Liberty?
Statue of Liberty, and we're using it to control her.
Well, the nice thing about the NES Advantage, it does have the joystick, which is hit or miss depending on who you talk to. But it's also got the turbo buttons. So you can adjust how much of a turbo you want for A and B, and it's also good for games like Super Mario Bros., where the two-player aspect was you take turns and trade off after every death, because there's a switch on it that makes it so you can switch between player 1 and player 2.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it also has the slow button, and I air quote slow because it was basically a turbo button for the start button.
Ah.
Which, when I was really confused because I initially used this on a Fester's Quest, and when I ended up getting this, apparently slow was automatically turned on when I had my NES Advantage. So I loaded up Fester's Quest, and it started pausing and unpausing by itself, and I was really confused why. Then I figured out, oh, that's what the slow button does.
Ah.
Which...
Well, there's also other games that could benefit from... pardon my drink. Could also benefit from turbo buttons, like, for example...
Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer is one of them.
Fester's Quest, because I was talking about that. Fester's Quest does benefit.
That game. Just remembering Silver Surfer is painful. God, it's so bad.
Usually people will use, for a turbo controller, either the NES Advantage or the NES Max. My personal choice is the NES 4-score. Because I have one of those.
4-score and 7 years ago.
Yeah. Well... It was an accessory that was used to plug in 4 NES controllers into the same NES. So this was used for games like Friday the 13th.
Ah, very few games actually did use that.
I think I have like a soccer game that uses this. But it's also got turbo buttons. So you basically press the buttons and then your NES controller is suddenly a turbo controller. It's a lot more handy because as someone who is more used to a D-pad than a joystick, it's a lot better for me.
Yeah, that makes more sense. And also, I think there was a game called Iron Man Ivan Stewart's Off-Road or something like that. I can't remember what it was originally called, but originally we got a remixed version of it on the Super Nintendo. And it also required 4 people, and of course there was basically a Super Nintendo version of the 4-score developed later, which, well, yeah, basically what the 4-score does is it's just basically a 4-player input. I think it plugs into the first port, Go away, you little bugs.
So, what should we talk about now?
Um,
I think we talked about. Oh yeah, I have one other NES.
yeah, there's a keyboard for the NES that was only for one game. Miracle
don't even-
something.
What about that Miracle Piano?
Yeah, that's what the keyboard was.
Oh, I thought you meant like
not a typing keyboard.
yeah,
but
the
a
keyboard,
literal
the
keyboard.
Miracle Piano. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw one of those when I was off at Game Over at the Game Over store at my place, which, for those who don't know, is a retro game store. While I was there, I did see a Miracle Piano, but it was well out of my price range. It was like $100.
Yeah, definitely would not have been worth it at the time.
I've got one other NES accessory in here that I can grab really quick.
Oh my god, I remember playing Mario Paint and then being freaked out by these bugs.
The frickin' power pad.
Oh god, here comes the... Oh yeah, the power pad. Everybody had the
Yeah.
power pad.
Yeah, the power pad for a world-class track meet. Because that's what I have it for. Because I'm not that kid who has the Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt cartridge. I have the
wonder
Super
how
Mario
you can
Bros.
play with the power pad. I mean, like, yeah, like, aren't the different buttons just different things on there?
I can't really say for certain because like I'm pretty sure there are other games besides World Class Track Meet that this is compatible with. World Class Track Meet's just the only one I played that's compatible with. And oddly enough, because this was shown on AVGN, how like tapping your hands onto the pad to like make your character run. I've experimented with that before. Oddly enough, it doesn't work for me. I'm not sure if that was just a scripted thing he did, or if it's just a limitation for my power pad that I have. I'm not sure.
I want to say that it could technically work in theory. I mean, do you actually have to run on it, run in place, or can you just simply slap it with your hands?
I tried slapping
and it
with
register the same.
I tried slapping with my hands. It didn't work.
Okay, that could have been just a thing that he did because... Oh, that's crap. Yeah, it could have been just a thing that he did.
Yeah,
Just because reason.
It's either that or it's just my power pad's crappy. My money's on the former of the two.
Yeah.
All right. So, are there any other NES accessories we want to talk about? I mean, there's a what am I saying? Of course there are. The Power Glove.
Oh, yes.
It's so
We
bad.
cannot escape NES accessories without the Power Glove.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's just so bad.
Okay,
It's like
I will admit one.
It makes bad the phrase look good.
Okay,
because-
I will admit one thing about the Power Glove. For the time, it was actually pretty innovative. Because this is
Yeah.
basically like a huge predecessor to the Wii. But yeah, it ran like shit.
Mhm.
There's no two ways around that.
Yeah, definitely.
What about Rob?
Oh god, the Rob the Robot. Well, he was made famous in several things other than Smash Brothers. He actually appeared at F-Zero GX.
I've not played any of the F-Zero games, so I wouldn't know that. Well,
Oh, you are... We need to talk about this for a future.
Okay, funny story. 2 times, same thing happened 2 times. I went to try to get a copy of F-Zero X for the Nintendo 64, and I didn't realize it until I got home and tried to put it in my N64 to try to play it. I got the Japanese version. Because...
Well, pay attention to the front artwork. They're different in Japan.
Yeah, but I didn't know what the artwork was at the time. So now I've got to make... So basically my way of figuring out if a game's Japanese or not is to look at the back.
Yeah. Like, if it says PAL, then it's definitely not being able to be used.
Yeah.
If it says NTSC, then you're good.
And now I know that the shape of the N64 cartridge for Japan is slightly different. So I should be able to make that distinct... I should be able to identify those two apart. At least that's the hope. What else do we want to talk about as far as NES accessories go? Are there any others we want to talk about?
There's nothing else that comes to mind.
Alright, and we talked about the main one already for Super Nintendo, which was the Super Scope.
Yeah, we did talk about the Super Scope. And apparently, because it was wireless, which is actually pretty innovative for the time, Unfortunately, it uses like what did they say? 6 AA batteries.
Yeah, 6 AA batteries.
And what's the battery span? The battery life for that?
I don't know. I don't have a super scope. Now
Oh,
what? Okay,
maybe it lasts like maybe a couple hours, but honestly, would you want to play a game for more than a couple hours holding something like a bazooka over your shoulder?
Okay, so funny story. Recently, so we know that Super Scope 6 is the main game that's compatible with the Super Scope, since that's what comes with it. But I recently found out there is a racing game for the Super Nintendo called Lamborghini American Challenge. That is also compatible with the Super Scope, and the idea is if you have a Super Scope connected, instead of racing everybody, you blow the shit out of everybody. You blow up the cars you're racing against.
That's like a precursor to GTA.
It's pretty awesome, and I now want to
nowadays. Man, like nowadays, we'd be playing GTA, and then someone would be like, "Hey, let's have a GTA race." We'd be like, "What's that?" And then you'd go for a while, and then you'd have weapons enabled, and then there's weapons you can pick up on the track, which includes a rocket launcher and a turbo boost. You use the rocket launcher or the boost, you honk your horn. So, in other words,
Lamborghini is one of those. You are laughing a lot. Lamborghini is one of those hidden gems, but problem with it is that the company's reputation.
Yeah.
It's Titus. The same company that made Superman 64.
And apparently the really bad Hercules game for the Game Boy.
Well,
which the title screen basically makes your ears bleed within the first 5 seconds of listening.
Let's not mince words. It's probably better than Superman 64.
We're have to have a bad game of all time discussion.
Dude, I've Let's Played Superman 64, so I would know.
I feel sorry for you.
Dude, it was actually
I don't even want to know how far you got before he said, fuck this shit.
No, I beat the game.
Okay.
But I did glitches a lot because that's how you play Superman 64. Speaking of Superman 64...
play the game.
Okay, so Superman 64, Stage 6. If you know how to break that game, normally the stage, if you're playing it legitimately, takes you about 15 minutes or so. Breaking the stage, you know how long it takes? Take a guess.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay, not that short. 30 seconds.
30? Okay. It's still pretty...
It's pretty ridiculous. Now, what I would really love to see is someone play Superman 64 with... Hang on. With an Ultra Racer 64.
Oh, God.
So let's talk about this accessory next, since I have it in my hand.
Yeah, I never knew that there was actually a racing wheel for the 64.
Well, it's not a racing...
I always just assumed that most racing games just used the joystick.
Okay, well, it's not a racing wheel per se, but basically it's like the steering wheel is a knob on it. If you look, do you have the stream brought up?
I do not.
All right, well, bring it up, and you can see this thing on the stream.
Oh, crap.
I'm
having mouse difficulties.
If you need a link, just tell me.
Yes, please.
I'm on it.
Wait, this is something we should have done.
I almost linked you my dashboard. That would have been bad. Okay. Alright, I gave you a link.
There we go. That's right. I knew that.
So, once it comes up on the stream, you can see what the Ultra Racer is. Which, it's a random thing I found for $8, so I'm like, this could be interesting. And I tried it with Mario Kart 64, and it's okay. The weird thing...
Oh, yeah, that thing!
Yeah, this thing.
I remember.
With the friggin' trigger on the back, that's the friggin' wheel. Now, if we want to attack actual steering wheels, I have one.
Yeah, I remember there was a game I used to play, and I really loved it. I think it was something to the effect of RC something racer.
RC Pro-Am?
No, not RC Pro-Am. It was multi-racing, MRC. There we go.
So I have
Most
this
recent
wheel.
championship.
I have a proper wheel, which is very, very weird. And it looks like it's supposed... I haven't tested it yet, but it looks like it's supposed to go to the N64. And
It looks like it too.
And based on the buttons I see on here, that also seems possibly likely. It's pretty large. Like, look at this thing.
Yeah, it's like it almost is the size of a car-size steering wheel.
They were going for realism, apparently.
Yeah, it's...
You want to talk about realism? Talk about Call of Duty. Yeah.
Oh dear God, no! We have to rip that one a new asshole later on.
Alright, let's put the wheel away. And this is the last accessory I have for the N64, which is the Game Boy Advance, or not the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy adapter used for games like Pokemon Stadium.
Oh right, I think that's right. You can actually play one of the older games through Stadium, I think, or if you had like
the fun thing to do though with this thing, like you can transfer your team into Stadium and play as if you're playing as the character in, say, Red or Blue. But the fun thing to do is to go to the Game Boy Tower where you can play the Pokemon game that's currently inserted with the Dodrio Tower, where you can play the game at 4 times speed. Because why the fuck not?
I never knew that.
It's pretty awesome. And,
okay, well the other two
sped up as well. And like the music sped up as well. That was the only other thing I had to say. Go ahead.
Okay, but yeah, the other two. I think I can probably stop watching your stream now. The other two peripherals for the N64 are obviously going to be the memory pack and the Rumble Pack. Which, the Rumble Pack was basically the idea to introduce realistic vibrations into the game to make it feel like that's how, like say for example, GoldenEye is a prime example of why it was developed. I think, or no, the Rumble Pack was developed later, or was developed actually earlier. But basically, when your character fired his gun, you would also feel a vibration with the controller itself too from the Rumble Pack. It basically
you first.
Oh wait, no. Well, basically, it was the idea of having Rumble working with your controller was revolutionary at the time, and now that's the norm. Like, Xbox One controllers have them built-in. Xbox 360 controllers have them, and yes, I still have one, even though I don't even have one. The GameCube was the very next system to have built-in Rumble after the 64's Rumble Pack external device, and ever since then, it's basically become a staple. Like the DualShock controller for PlayStation, was one of the first other than Nintendo to have Rumble in their controllers, and then of course with Xbox that was the thing too. They're all just basically doing the same thing now. It's just different layouts on their controllers.
Show of hands, who thought the Stone of Agony in Ocarina of Time was useless?
I think it's better as the Shard of Agony that just tells you where stuff is.
Yeah, because like
DS versions.
If you didn't own a Rumble Pack, you were so screwed.
Yeah,
except the thing was basically useless anyways, because the hidden grottos 9 times out of 10 didn't contain anything useful.
Exactly. Other than I think there was one that was in the middle of Hyrule Field, right at the entrance of.
That's the really well. That one's really well known because you can pull off a glitch to get unlimited gold Skulltula tokens.
That one actually you could do at Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, that's the.
This will be a different discussion.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a pretty well known glitch at this point, which I've never used because I haven't.
I've done it once. I ended up getting to all 100. I was missing like 20 or so of them, and so at the end when I finished the game, I was at 120 Skulltulas or so.
All right. I guess the GameCube's next then, as far as accessories go.
Yeah, there wasn't. There's probably a decent handful of them.
I've only got one with me right now. I've only got one with me, and that's the GameCube microphone.
Right, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of the microphone because I think there was a new version of Hey You Pikachu that was released. It wasn't called Hey You Pikachu, but it was
Pokemon Channel?
Same idea. Yeah, that's right, Pokemon Channel. Yeah.
That doesn't use the microphone though.
Okay, well, I'm thinking
because I beat
there's
Pokemon
another
Channel.
game that used that. Oh, there's also the N64 microphone for
Yes,
Hey
that's
Pikachu.
the Hey You Pikachu one. The main thing I have this microphone for is Mario Party 6 and 7. Those are the two games I have that are compatible.
Was there also a racing wheel? I could swear there was.
That might be the thing I showed earlier that I thought was for the N64. That might be GameCube. I'm not sure because I haven't used it yet.
Possibly. Do you know what plug did it look like it had?
You know what? I'll go plug it into my GameCube really quick and see if it plugs in.
Yeah, because I was gonna say if it looks like this, if it looks like that, then it's for GameCube. If it has the same shape plug-in, but it's like got these little holes at the end, then it's for 64.
No, it was 64 because I tried to plug it into my GameCube and it didn't fit in.
Yeah.
And because I was pretty sure it was 64.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that there's also a wheel, or not a wheel, but like a joystick that they had for either the N64 or possibly even the GameCube, because there's a lot of flight sim games with the two systems, like Rogue Squadron and Battle for Naboo being the two most prominent ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And there's also I'm not thinking of. There's also, of course, the external different controllers, which I had a Mad Catz Turbo controller that the joystick was stiff, like it did not want to function correct.
Yeah. One other thing I have for the GameCube, but I don't know where I put it. I have a dance pad for the GameCube for Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's the dance pads for each different Dance Dance game.
Yeah.
I know the GameCube also had a light gun because there's some games that required them.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't know if you know what Time Crisis is.
I've heard of it.
Time Crisis is a really fun game. It's most of the time found in arcades. It requires a pedal to use correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the pedal, or if your light gun had buttons on it, you usually either pressed a button or stepped on the pedal to get out of cover. Which, in the arcade version, it's stepping on the pedal, gets you out of cover, and releases it, puts you back in cover, and also reload your gun.
Alright. I think the next subject we'll talk, unless you have any other GameCube accessories in mind. Do you?
I'm not thinking of anything right now. I could look stuff up.
Alright, well, next...
There's also the external memory cards, which I had one that held 1,024 blocks.
Yeah, I have one of those.
It was a Mad Catz external one. I think the current one I have, I couldn't tell you. Let me grab it at least. Yeah, it doesn't say, but when you got these things, they originally had little labels on them, and I had two regular black ones, or no, I had a gray and a black one, and then I had the Mad Catz one, which held the giant amount of data, because I was a huge F-Zero fanatic. And I would carry my memory cards whenever I went to arcades with the hopes of there being an F-Zero AX machine. Which, here's a little bit of a story. It's kind of a peripheral, but I guess you could call it a peripheral. Basically, F-Zero GX was the GameCube console version, and then here's AX, which was an actual arcade cabinet built on the style of the Blue Falcon, and it actually had like a full-on like stick and everything, and pedals, and it was basically like a racer version of F-Zero. And I played it once, and it was amazing. Except for the stick was somehow stuck at neutral like this, so every time I went off a jump, I went up, and then I lost all my momentum, so I couldn't really play very well. But it was still fun. I mean, I can figure out how to drift and everything. But the cool thing is, though, if you have made machines on your console version, you could take them from your memory card, plug them into the system of the arcade system, and use your custom-made machines in the arcade, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like it was unheard of at the time to have. Oh, and there's also a pilot's license card you could print out and use every single time to keep track of your data and whatnot. I mean, I don't think people have those anymore. I don't think you can even get them anymore. But it was still pretty cool. Like Nintendo and Sega basically went all out on these two games, but unfortunately, that's where F-Zero stopped. I mean, that's the last game they made,
Yeah.
which is really saddening because the F-Zero series was amazing. I mean, you just had this amazing sense of speed. Like, I'm surprised they didn't make like custom joysticks that worked the the controls of a high speed machine. Like that's how much I love that game. It should have had its own peripheral.
Yeah. So, should we move on to the next peripheral? Let's move on to the e-reader.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing for the GameCube. It was basically like a barcode scanner.
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, to use these little special cards, right?
Yeah, I have a binder of them. Let me pull that out.
Huh. Yeah, I've never had any experience with this one, so I think we can definitely call that sort of, if you had it.
It's kind of like a precursor to Amiibo cards, which is what they're doing now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because I've got a binder full of them. It's mostly Super Mario Advance. I don't know which Super Mario Advance it was. It's the one with Super Mario Bros. 3. A lot of my e-reader cards.
Mario Advance 1 or 2.
Probably 2.
Can't remember which.
Because I think Super Mario Advance 1 was the remake of Super Mario Bros. 2.
That's right. It was, yeah. They started off odd numbered. Like Super Mario 4 was the remake of like World, I think.
I think that was 3. I think 4 was the remake of Yoshi's Island.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's right. Because they didn't go back to the original one because that's when they had, I think. No, please correct me if I'm wrong. Mario Deluxe, which also had a new version of the original game.
Okay, funny story about Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. I found a copy of it, but apparently someone hacked the game, so when you boot up the game, it says shit the stupid game. I have no idea why, but it made me laugh.
Wow.
Alright, but I've got a bunch of different cards. Like, I've got Mario Party E cards. The one card I would really like to get is the Eon ticket for Pokemon, because that's apparently one of the really rare ones. But I ended up finding a bunch of e-reader cards for like $25. It was a case for an e-reader, the e-reader itself, and a bunch of e-reader cards. So I figured, I'd get that. And I got one card. Actually, I think I got 2 cards out of that I particularly was pretty happy about. One of them was oh, here it is right now. I'll pull this out. One of them was the e-reader card for Manhole for Game & Watch.
Huh. That's yeah. Game & Watch is an old thing.
Yeah,
that's probably a whole peripheral system on its own.
Yeah, I own a few Game & Watches, but not too many. I want to get some of the multi-part Game & Watches because those look pretty interesting.
Yeah, I had one at one point, but I don't think I kept it.
Yeah,
might have gotten rid of it.
And then I've got 5 cards, which once you scan all 5 of them, both sides, so scan it 10 times, you can play Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh, wow.
So, because it was
Donkey Kong
interesting.
Jr. was pretty fun. I think I played that.
Yeah, it was interesting because the e-reader had basically some internal memory, but it can remember one game. And once you scan another game, then it completely forgets about that other one that you had.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, well, it was limited, but it was an interesting idea at the time, but it's definitely limited.
Yeah.
I guess the next thing we can move on to is cheat devices. So this would be stuff like Game Genie, Action.
We got to go all the way back to the Game Genie. Yep.
I've got my Game Boy Game Genie right here. My NES Game Genie is in the other room.
Yeah, the NES one is basically you plug your cartridge on top of it, and it has this little hook that hooks on top of the cartridge, and you run codes through it. Like you have to have a code book, otherwise you have no idea what you're doing.
I do
to
have
get,
a
like,
Game
limited
Genie
lives and whatnot and junk.
I do have a number of Game Genie code books for the NES.
Oh wow! I didn't know there was more than one. Of course, they have to update the book as the games came out. I think the last game that was released for the NES was like 1995, as late as 1995.
I think the
There's
official
an
NES games
game,
because
I'm
Battle
sure.
Kid exists.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure the 1995 game was an unlicensed game because otherwise Nintendo have. I think the last game that officially that Nintendo released, I think, was Wario's Woods, and that was like 1991, I believe.
One of the latest games I have for the NES is a game called Overlord.
Hmm.
I don't remember what year. I just remember a friend of mine saying, like, oh, this is, like, super late in the NES era. But moving back to cheat devices, next is the Game Shark.
Yeah. What did they have for the Super Nintendo? They didn't really have any cheat devices for the Super Nintendo, did they?
There might have been a Game Genie for the Super Nintendo as well.
Oh, we skipped over one.
What did we skip over?
We skipped over the Super Game Boy.
Oh, right, that thing.
That was amazing. I love the Super Game Boy. Being able to play Pokemon on the big screen
Okay,
that blew my mind back in the day.
here's the problem I have with the Super Game Boy, and it might be a limitation of the one I have. The sound sounds kind of weird when I use the Super Game Boy with it.
It possibly could be a coding failure with the sound.
Yeah, I think it might be just the Super Game Boy that I have. That is entirely possible.
Yeah.
But back to the Game Shark. This one was a step up from the Game Genie because instead of having to put in the code every single time you booted up the game, this would
it saved your it saved cheats, which is
yeah,
awesome.
we'll remember them, which is very handy.
Yeah, and there was also some cheats that you couldn't access normally. Like there were some GoldenEye cheats I remember. Like for example, there was one where you turned everything into lines. It was like pen and ink in line mode. It was really weird. It basically just unrendered all the colors and everything. It was awkward to look at, but I mean, it almost looked like it was out of a drawing book.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Turok had something like that too.
Yeah, and then there was also the action replay, which what they did with the action replay for the Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS were pretty similar. It's like, oh, there's codes preloaded on it, and like you can add more codes and all that stuff. But what they did with the 3DS action replay was a bit different.
Yeah.
What they end up doing is, and this is still going on, and it's kind of weird, but what happened was they have a full website for it where you could see the codes, but you put in your action replay for the 3DS, and it would get the codes automatically off of the internet. So you could have all the codes right there. You can also back up your saves, which is really handy for me. And they recently started doing this thing called Power Saves Prime, where if you pay them money, you can basically get games early. Like, say, for example, Mario & Luigi Paper Jam, because that just came out.
Huh.
Normally, you'd have to wait another 6 days or so if you want to get the codes before, like, that's when they're going to release publicly. But if you pay them, you will be able to get them with Power Saves Prime, which basically means you can get the codes right now.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of dumb, but I mean, at the very least, it's not like, oh, you need this. No, it's like, are you impatient? Then pay us, and you can get these now.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid though. Like, why would you pay for just nothing, pretty much?
Yeah.
Like, I can understand paying for, like, say, for example.
To be fair, it's not
Grand
much
Theft
money
Auto
because
5.
like, it's not that much money you have to pay because like you have to buy points, which I think 1 point costs $1, and it doesn't usually cost that many points. I don't think. I don't use Power Saves Prime, so I don't know.
I didn't even know that there's such a service existed.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Alright.
So it probably would be a good time to go to break.
Yep, we're gonna go on break, so if you need to use the washroom, if you need to get a drink of water, we'll be right back.
Yep, we'll be back in 5.
Alright, we're on break now.
Cool. It's been pretty interesting. So, holy crap! I think we already went over a half hour.
Yeah. Well, we get to go a bit longer because I've got other stuff that I can talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's still.
Dude, I actually
Well, I mean, of course, there's the modern stuff that we definitely have to talk
No,
about.
there's one thing I forgot to talk about that I'm going to have to talk about when we get back on break. The
Yeah.
Sega Dreamcast fishing controller.
Oh yeah. Then speaking of the Dreamcast, there's also the Seaman, the whole Seaman game.
Yeah, well, like, the specific story behind the fishing controller is amazing. But what else do I have? Amiibos, Disney Infinity Connect, the 3DS Circle Pad Pro.
Yeah, I thought that was...
The Xbox equivalent to the PlayStation iToy, which is even more low-tech than a Kinect, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. The iToy was kind of dumb.
Yeah, you'll see these very weird things in a bit. I've found a lot of weird shit over the years.
I can imagine. There's a lot of weird stuff to be found.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I'm proud of that or not.
That's okay. I've had some weird stuff in the past too. I used to have I don't know if this is technically not a peripheral, but I used to have all the players' guides for Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'd always refer to them whenever I got stuck.
Yeah, I didn't really get stuck that much whenever I played Pokemon, but I usually use the guides for oh, you can find this Pokemon on this route, so go there.
Yeah, that was always a good idea. Or how to get the legendary Pokemon. That was always a good way to get some hints.
Yeah, I think I got a... Is it still there? It might not be. Because I think I have another peripheral that I don't have the game for yet, but just for principle, I'll talk about it. The skateboard.
Oh, the skateboard.
Mm-hmm.
That was the dumbest thing. Why do you need a friggin' skateboard controller when you could actually go out and skate at that point?
And then there's the Rock Band stuff.
Yep, of course.
The Wii balance board.
Yeah, the Wii Fit one. Yeah. You're probably hearing a bunch of beeps randomly, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I'm replacing all the stars in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with Game Boys.
Because why not?
Exactly. One of the things I used to do all the time in Mario Paint was replace all the notes in one song with one instrument. Son of a... That beep was timely.
Beep!
Okay, let's see what this sounds like.
That should be our intermission song now.
Yeah, Twinkle Star with Game Boys.
You wanna go back to the podcast, or you wanna go stay on break for a little while longer?
That actually doesn't sound really bad.
Welcome to the early version of Photoshop.
I know, right?
As someone who's used Photoshop before, yeah, this is about an accurate representation of Photoshop.
Mario Paint.
Yep. Well, not actually. I don't use Photoshop on a regular basis. Sadly enough, the main thing I use is MS Paint.
Yeah, I actually have GIMP. So there we go. I'm gonna play an actual Super Nintendo game instead of this. Let's see.
What are you gonna play?
Probably something I haven't. Probably, I don't know. It'll give me something to do while we're talking.
Yeah, I've been leaving Mario Paint running so far. And what I plan to do is change what's being shown. So for our next podcast, I'll change it to the theme of that podcast. Basically, is how it works.
Yeah, where's my phone? Damn it.
A phone counts as a peripheral, right?
Yeah. I have to respond to this text.
Yeah, sure. Once you're done with that, we'll head back.
Apparently we're going a little longer than we thought, so another half hour. Oh, I'm gonna play some Yoshi's Island. That's a good game.
Yeah. Alright. Why don't we go back to the podcast then?
Yes, please.
Okay. And we're back from break.
Welcome back, everybody.
So, So, while we were on break, I had the idea to talk about the fishing controller for the Sega Dreamcast. Because I know a little bit of trivia about that friggin' controller. So, the character from Sonic Adventure, Big the Cat. His purpose in that game was 2 reasons. 1, to break up the action in the game, to make it so it's like you have a character that will make it so it's like you're taking a break from the action, maybe like doing something a little bit more relaxing and stuff. But the second reason was Big's story in Sonic Adventure is compatible with the fishing controller. So the idea behind Big the Cat was to sell you on the fishing controller, possibly the fishing game as well. Which is very interesting. Also, Froggy. Good job, Big. You did good. So, what else can we talk about? Let's move on to modern day stuff. We have the Rock Band equipment, which the main thing I want to talk about in that department is the microphone, because what I find interesting about the microphone is I know a lot of people who use the microphone for recording, like actual like, Let's Plays and such. So it's like
Yeah, that.
So it's like using
My actual microphone you see in the corner of my screen is the Rock Band one.
Nice. That's
hey, it works. It's good.
It works.
It's clear. It works fine. I have no problems with it.
Speaking of those kinds of games.
Yeah. So there's also Guitar Hero, which
DJ Hero.
Dear God, DJ Hero.
I have the frickin' DJ.
I'm surprised that got as far as it did, because honestly, it wasn't even that good of a game. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn how to fake turntable scratch.
I kind of got some enjoyment out of DJ Hero, honestly. I guess you could say it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed kind of. They could have done a little better, honestly.
Alright.
Other than just here's what it maybe feel like to actually DJ scratch, but I doubt any of them have actually even touched a turntable.
Yep. Well, let's move.
I mean, DJing is not just scratching and spinning CDs. I mean, or CDs. I mean, well, you know what I mean.
Well, let's move on to everybody's favorite monstrosity, the Kinect.
Well, there's another monstrosity, but I doubt we want to talk about that one here.
Which one?
Oh, the good old VR32.
Oh. Oh. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the Kinect. I have a Kinect.
Yes.
I barely use it.
I do not, and I'm glad I didn't spend the extra $150 for it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. For the Xbox One, it's an extra $200.
Yeah, I got the.
Yeah.
I got the Xbox 360 without the Kinect and got the Kinect later and still haven't used it, but most of that is because I don't have the room to set it up in, because I work with a small area. And
yeah, my bedroom isn't exactly the largest either.
And
so
God knows
I
I'm not gonna be. God knows I'm not gonna be getting an Xbox One Kinect.
Yep.
I actually did try a webcam game that was not the Kinect.
Huh.
Which was this little piece of crap thing, which is for a game for the Xbox 360 called You're in the Movies.
Oh yeah, I remember that stupid thing.
I have that game, and it's depressing. But it does make for a fun thing to play with friends, just as a stupid thing to play, because why the heck not?
Exactly, why not? It's the entire motivation behind that.
Yeah.
Because we can. Just like, I guess we shall talk about it anyways. The aforementioned VR32, which we all know fondly, and, well, I should say rather not as fondly, but, we all know more commonly as the Virtual Boy. The pile of crap that they thought was a very good idea. Like, I mean, I could see the direction they wanted to go in. Like, it was kind of like virtual reality, but I mean,
my stance on the Virtual Boy is the same stance on the Power Glove. Innovative at the time, but a piece of flaming crap.
Yeah,
when I went to Portland Retro Gaming Expo, they did have a stand for the Virtual Boy, so I ended up trying it.
Crap, I'm dead. I died.
Which was a thing. I ended up playing the Virtual Boy version of Wario Land, which that happened. The
Yeah, the Wario Land 3D, which actually used the 3D to
Yeah,
really
well,
cool effect.
Wario Land was one of the actually decent Virtual Boy games. And the dumbest Virtual Boy game, oh boy, the dumbest, Waterworld.
Water World. Should have
Ignoring the
just called it Blood World.
ig
That's all. It's just red.
Okay, ignoring the fact that it's Waterworld slash Blood World, the fact that seeing this game, I think it was this game anyways, that showed that they were intending for you to be able to connect up to what 8, 9 Virtual Boys together.
Yeah, 8. Yeah, friggin'. Who would want to? How would you want to find 8 other people and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna play some Virtual Boy."
We're gonna play some Waterworld. That's cool, right? I think Nintendo
Yeah.
said a little while ago actually that, or not Nintendo, but the people who are making the Oculus Rift said that the Virtual Boy harmed the reputation of virtual reality.
Yeah, I've actually seen the Oculus Rift in somewhat use. I mean, I saw someone playing Skyrim with it, and I
Alright.
guess their bow controller. Oh God, not this again.
I tested
guess-
it 1 year at PAX, and that was about it. But that was before they made a bunch of tweaks, because that's back when like wearing it would give you a headache, like a massive headache.
Yeah. No, no, no. Oh God, I'm always stuck at this stupid Tetris level in Yoshi's Island.
So
I hate this.
let's talk about the next thing, which is I'm gonna roll these two into one: Disney Infinity and Amiibo.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they're just gimmicks.
Yeah,
They're
Disney
just
Infinity.
they're just there to make money.
Pretty-
I mean that's cool that you get little figurines that could actually work in your games, but honestly, beyond that, they're just glorified Tamagotchis, if you want to say.
Yeah. So the
That's
sad thing
what they are.
is,
They're equivalent of Tamagotchis. They're just there just to be there,
all right,
and they're
here,
fat. I'm pretty sure in about a year or two, everyone's gonna forget about them
Yeah,
and be
here-
like, "Yeah, what amiibos? What
here's
that?
what
Oh, that."
here's my history of this. Skylanders have not played, so I haven't gotten into that yet. Disney Infinity.
Yeah, that's another money cash grab. I mean,
Yeah.
it's clearly, ooh, yeah, that's clearly what it is. Is just
Yeah, Disney Infinity, I have a box of stuff for Disney Infinity that I haven't really used much. I played it once with a friend, and that was about it. And Amiibos! Oh boy, Amiibos! So, as I just showed on the stream, I have Gold Mario right here.
which
And
apparently gold is very rare, or so I've not heard anything about this whatsoever.
I have a Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer binder with all of the cards from Series 1. And the Amiibo figurines. I have just about everyone up to date with the exception of a few of the Animal Crossing ones and 2 of the Woolly World ones, the 2 green ones for Woolly
Oh.
World. But other than that, I have a complete set of Amiibo figurines.
I'm sorry for the baby Mario. I'm apparently losing him.
Yeah, but the nice thing about Amiibos is some of the interactions that I have with other people when waiting for the Amiibos, and like some of the weird shit that happened. Like for Gold Mario, for example, the way I got Gold Mario because the Walmart here sucks because he was a Walmart exclusive. I ended up trading somebody's Silver Mario for Gold Mario.
Huh. It's kind of like Pokemon cards, really. I mean, there's another thing that I guess you could call it a peripheral because again, it was a thing,
Yeah.
and it kind of still is. But it's not as cool nowadays because I mean, it's it's Pokemon cards and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my favorite Amiibo story still to tell is my story of how I got Dark Pit. Because the story behind that was I ended up going to that was a Best Buy exclusive, I'm pretty sure, and I was waiting in line early in the morning to get Dark Pit, and there was this guy in line who was parked outside. He had his car parked outside, and in the back of his car, he had a Wii U with Super Smash Bros. Set up. So,
Oh, wow.
So while waiting in line, we were in the back of his car playing Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, which was very awesome.
yeah, that's actually something I've been interested in playing because I heard that it was they got back to Melee standards. If you know what I mean there. Like,
Well, there ain't no dash dancing, son.
yeah, there's no wave dashing, unfortunately, but I think we could do without wave dashing. Honestly, um, it's not a bad thing that wave dashing is gone. I just kind of wish that we could still do that because seriously, that was like the coolest thing to do if you knew how to do it and do it correctly. I was like, yeah, I could wave dash.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know what to think of Melee at this point.
Melee
Anyways,
is a definite classic. I'd still rate it above Brawl because Brawl was okay, but Melee just seems to have been more refined because it just seems like they didn't put enough effort into Brawl.
Alright.
But that's my opinion. I might get some bad comments about that. You know, honestly, I don't care.
Well, hey. Otherwise, there's also the predecessor to Amiibo cards, AR cards. Who remembers those?
Oh gosh.
So, I have another funny story relating with the AR cards. So, I was really into Kid Icarus Uprising AR cards, but they're
Damn
really
it.
hard to find because here there were no booster packs, and instead the only way to get those was to get another copy of the game each time, and each time you would get 6 different cards, but it was limited to 20 different cards you could get. When I went down to a vintage game store because I was looking for a game called Dokapon Journey, while I was there, I saw a stack of like 200 to 300 Kid Icarus Uprising AR cards for about $10.
Oh wow.
So I picked that up, and now I've already organized them, and now I've got a bunch of Kid Icarus Uprising AR card trades for if I ever meet people at conventions who also have Kid Icarus Uprising cards.
I've been so out of touch with Nintendo stuff, like I kind of stopped caring. Like the only other time when I really got gung ho about Nintendo was when I heard that Earthbound Beginnings was being released, and if you don't know what that is, Earthbound Beginnings is
Earthbound
our
Zero
final
/ Mother
version
1.
of. Exactly. We finally got it here in the States, and that was like such an awesome thing. Like I remember even watching a stream of like I was kind of late to the stream, but they were still playing it. Thankfully, by the time I started watching, but Tomato and a whole bunch of other people from Starman.net were all gathered around a TV just playing it and having a fun time.
Yeah,
And it was just so much fun. It was just so much just being a part of that and having a podcast dedicated to the news of that. Like when I first heard about it, that I was just completely up in arms. And we're probably getting a little off topic, but
yeah. I don't know. I personally shrugged off the announcement because I already had a copy of it for the NES. So
you probably have like a patched copy then.
yeah, I have one of those, and it still worked for me, so I didn't really see much of a point to get Earthbound Beginnings.
Yeah, I mean, it's still cool to have the official one, but Tomato's version is still pretty cool. I mean, it has a whole lot of the original stuff.
Yeah. So, I think that's the majority of the peripherals we wanted to talk about. Do you have any other in mind?
Well, we have the Seaman microphone for the Dreamcast.
Because microphones back then were so high quality.
Yeah. Back then, that was a really interesting game. I mean, I think you'd definitely call that just a game by itself.
Night fun, man. Alright, well, if you want to count it as a peripheral, a bunch of the Hyperkin stuff, because, I'm currently running Mario Paint on my Retron 5, which can play a bunch of different kinds of games, because it can play NES, SNES, Famicom, Super Famicom,
Oh, right.
Genesis,
Almost forgot
and Game Boy Family. You can play all that stuff. There's the Super Boy, which is basically a portable Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that, too. One other guy, I think he reviewed that.
I tried to participate. I participated in a raffle for one at Seattle Retro Gaming Expo last year. It was either last year or 2 years ago. Probably 2 years ago, but I participated in that and I didn't win the drawing, unfortunately.
Ah. That would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like a Game Boy, but it's like you plug Super Nintendo cartridges into it.
And if you want to, you can also use the standard Super Nintendo controllers.
But why would you want to do that?
to play multiplayer on it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, I
You
guess.
can play. You can plug 2 Super Nintendo controllers into it.
I forgot about that.
There's one other thing I want to talk about, if I can find it. I don't remember what this game was, so I'm gonna be kind of freelancing trying to find this as I look it up. But there was a game for the original Xbox that had this very, very convoluted setup.
Hmm.
And I want to see if I can find it. I'm gonna try
Probably
to
have no
find
idea what
it.
you're talking about.
If I can find it, I'll show it on the stream, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
Dang it. I just want to go. Dang it. Apparently, I'm bad at throwing eggs. Also, if you're probably wondering, wait, I'm playing Yoshi's Island with a controller, but you know I probably showed you this before. But this is my Super Nintendo USB controller. It feels almost the same, but the weight isn't there of the original controller, if you know what I mean. And sometimes the buttons tend to stick. I actually haven't used this for quite a while, so they're a little stiff.
The problem I have with my SNES controller, the cord is incredibly short. Like, crazy short.
Ah.
Which is why I ended up buying an extension cord.
Huh. Well,
So,
the USB ones, I think, are about a good 5 feet long.
yeah, I really want to find this freaking accessory because it is so worth showing if I can find it. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh, well, I can talk about the thing that lets you bring your current-gen consoles on the go. Because I have one of those. But it's basically like a suitcase with a portable TV inside of it. It's pretty cool.
Huh. Sounds like one of those old-fashioned cell phones that, like, were literally inside of a friggin' briefcase. Like the briefcase phone. Yeah, before we had smartphones, we had...
Ah, yes, I found it!
Yeah.
I found the thing I was looking for. This thing is...
cool.
Let me... save image. I'm so glad I could find this. The Steel Battle Tank. Wait, is that what it says?
Oh, you Steel Battalion?
Steel Battalion, that's it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the most expensive. It was $150 just for the game and controller.
I need
Back then, that was ridiculous.
Alright. I need to show this thing.
Stop stealing my eggs, you little rat bastard.
I need to show this thing on the stream. Apologies to audio viewers, but I'm gonna show this.
I need to see this thing.
Have you not seen this before?
Oh, I have. I just haven't actually like seen it in person.
Alright, it's on the stream. Well, I don't have it in person. I just have a picture of it.
Right. I think when we redo the stream, we should make it so that I'm on the right and you're on the left, so that it looks like we're talking to each other.
Yeah, I'll probably be changing that in between streams. But this thing,
it seems like we're talking on opposite ends of the thing, just for everybody else.
yeah,
Yeah, that is like the most immersive way to play a game, I think. Because like you literally before dying, you have to eject your character out.
yeah.
Otherwise, die and everything restarts. Like everything, all of your progress gets erased if you die, if you don't eject out of your system, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to... Okay, I should probably resize the Elgato. I don't know how it started doing this, but knowing that that thing exists and knowing that I would want to get one of those is pretty much worth it in and of itself because, my god, that thing...
Yeah,
really,
it looks like a trip. Like
Yeah.
if anybody had that to actually play, that would be pretty cool.
They had one of those set up at the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, so I played one of
Oh,
those.
wow. I definitely would say try to get a hold of that if you can.
I will try to get a hold of it whenever I can, because that is a thing that exists.
Yeah, like I don't know why they don't do that with other mecha games.
I would love to see that in other games, but then again, it would cost how much?
Nowadays, probably a couple $100. given that it's 3 panels of
Bullshit.
controller. Or it's 2 joysticks and it's a central panel with all these switches and everything, which you have to use in order to control everything. Because I think there's like a switch for thrusters, and there's definitely like different ammo things you could switch. It's basically just basically the control console of a friggin' mech.
Now let's not get started on LAN with that game.
That would be a pain in the ass. How could you find a couple different people that have that setup?
Locally at that, because it's LAN, so it's not.
Yeah, you have to have 3 people literally sitting behind their TVs with a friggin' setup.
God, I might as well get an arcade machine at that point.
Exactly.
All right, is there anything else we want to talk about?
You know, I think we've covered everything.
All right, I think that's gonna do it for most of the stream. Let's talk. So now let's say our favorite peripherals out of this list, or anything else we can think of randomly.
If I could find another one, I would love to play the F-Zero AX arcade cabinet again.
I'm gonna say. Okay, you can finish if you want.
There was one that was working, because the one that I logged in on and started playing, unfortunately, like I said, the somehow it was stuck like in the up position. Like there was no way to fix that, even if you were just holding your stick down, it would still make your machine fly upwards, and you'd lose all momentum. And it was sad, because I've been waiting to play that forever, and when I finally got an opportunity, the thing was broken, and that was so sad.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Steel Battalion, because what the fuck.
Well, that too, but I mean, as big of a fan as I am of F-Zero, that would just be amazing. But Steel Battalion looks like, for at least something brand new, I would love to play that.
Yeah.
But for something that I've known that has existed for a while, I would love to play F-Zero AX again.
Yeah, I would, because it's like I said, I would love to get the Steel Battalion set, because I think in addition to like those 3 panels, you had like a foot pedal or something.
Yeah, you had at least a couple foot pedals. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, to control forward braking.
I was shit at that game, but I don't care, because that was an amazing experience. That was probably one of my highlights of when I went to see a Retro Gaming Expo last year. That and almost beating Ghosts and Goblins' second run.
Huh.
All right, I think that will about do it though for the stream. I've been OkamiOfGames.
And I'm HylinEchoWolf, or that wolf from Hyrule.
And join us back here next week, where we're going to be talking about Bungie, then and now.
Yep, we'll see you guys later.
Good night, everybody.